welcome everyone to the AMA with the Parallel here. The Parallel is going to be having their IGO today on Seedify. So all of you, obviously, since you're watching, you know Seedify. Seedify is a launchpad for, I would say, high potential games generally. Seedify contains of a tier system with 9 tiers. The first tier being lottery, where you have to hold 250 SFUND tokens, and 500 people will be chosen to participate in the IGO. Then there is tier 2 until 9. Tier 2 starting at 1,000 SFUND. Tier 9 having the requirement to hold 100,000 SFUND to participate in the IDOs. Then there is us, you know us, Seedify HODLers. We are a community behind Seedify, basically, not officially related with Seedify. Basically, what we do in comparison to, for example, Seedify is we talk more in depth about projects that are being launched through Seedify. We allow price talking if you want in our group, whereas Seedify does not allow that. So that's what we as a community do. And we also hold these AMAs, as you know. So all the people that are about to participate in the IGOs know more about all the games that are being launched through Seedify. So as I said, tonight we are here with Daniel Pidan, who's the CBO of the Parallel. And I'm just going to give him some time to introduce himself, tell a bit about his background, how did he get into the Parallel, and how does he see the future of the Parallel, just in a few sentences. Over to you.
Thanks so much for that introduction, guys, and I'm happy to be here tonight with you guys. Yeah, so I'm the CBO of the Parallel. I live in Vietnam, originally from Saigon, but I moved to Hanoi to join the Parallel team. I was introduced to the Parallel through their COO, Mr. Heen, who introduced me to their CEO, Lewis. At the time, I was kind of working off and on an advisory level with some GameFi projects. I have a background in international business and marketing and branding and product development. But most importantly, I'm also a gamer. I've been a gamer for about 30 years. I grew up in the Metaverse. You know, I grew up in EverQuest and World of Warcraft and everything in between. So GameFi for me was a dream come true industry. And I moved to Vietnam kind of to be in the center of not only great economic development, but also in tech development. And just so happens that Vietnam is kind of like leading the way in many ways as far as GameFi is concerned, or at least the original visionaries with Axie, and now you got Thetan Arena with 10 million users. They're really pumping out some great stuff. But anyway, the Parallel was to me very, very promising from the get-go. From the moment I joined the project, I saw that its potential. I'll tell you more about it later, but it really inspired me when I understood what Lewis Wynn was doing, and he truly is a visionary, our CEO. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you later.
Okay, so thank you for sharing it with us. Starting with the Parallel, can you explain in 2 minutes what is the Parallel about and why people should be part of the Parallel?
The Parallel is, and let me just answer a question real quick. Yeah, I'm originally from the USA. I'm from NYC, but I've become partly Vietnamese, so I accidentally associate myself as being Vietnamese these days. I love Asia, I really do. Yeah, what is the Parallel? It's really hard to describe in a short period of time. Even when I'm talking to VCs, usually a pitch is about 10 minutes long. Mine is usually about 40 minutes long because it's so dynamic. It starts out as a GameFi project. It starts out as what you see as like a Sandbox competitor, maybe, or maybe you look at it and you're like, oh, it's a Minecraft, it's a Roblox, but it's so much more than that. GameFi is just the beginning. It basically, the Parallel has several groups in it. It has gamers, it has creators, it has traders, it has farmers, it has investors, it has partners, game developer. There's so many different members of the Parallel, and each one has to have something that they can find and prosper, and opportunities that they can pursue on a consistent and long-term basis in the Parallel. So if I was to say that the Parallel was just a game, well, that's going to be great for gamers, but it sure as hell is not going to be great for investors in the long term. So the Parallel is much more than that. It starts out as a GameFi project. It starts out as a creation platform. It develops into a platform for several other internal developments, whether that be gaming experiences or entertainment experiences or investment opportunities. It's all about economic synergy. Eventually, the Parallel will become a facilitator of the creation of experiences in games and investment opportunities. It's complex, it's dynamic, and I'd really have to go through quite a few more questions to try to explain how that all works. But it's a very, very interesting project, and that's why I'm here. The long-term potential is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
So that's very interesting. So actually, because we like dynamic AMAs, rather than the static AMAs. You were just saying that you would normally pitch the Parallel to people in 40 minutes, which is roughly about the time that we have for this AMA to discuss the core part of your project. So if you want, if you have some media ready, like share screen or anything, if you want to switch over to that, you want to pitch it, up to you. You have 40 minutes to do it. That's okay for us, and then the community can see exactly from your perspective what the Parallel is all about.
Mm-hmm. I guess I can do that. That's actually, I guess that works. So let me do a window here. Okay, cool. All right. So what is the Parallel in a nutshell? There's a lot of really awesome video you guys can watch on YouTube. Just go to the Parallel and Infinite Metaverse on YouTube or our website, theparallel.io, and you'll see some unbelievable in-game footage and productions that we do all in-house. All of our game development, all of our productions and marketing is done in-house. We've got over 50 team members pre-IDO, most of which were paid for before VCs even knew that we existed. And we've been developing a game for over a year and a half. I haven't been with the Parallel for a year and a half, but they have been together, the founding team, for over a year and a half, working on this project. So what is the Parallel in a nutshell? The Parallel's goal is to create an infinite metaverse, and the key word is infinite. And it's not even create; it's to start the evolution of an infinite metaverse. But first, let's talk about what is this word metaverse. It's a word that's being so overused today, so exploited actually, to give it a sense of mysticism, to give it a sense of mystery, that its true definition is being completely diluted, and on some levels even corrupted. So what is a metaverse? A metaverse is a virtual world. It is basically a place that people go outside of the normal, outside of reality, to experience and enjoy their needs, whatever their needs may be, and to do so with other people. And how do I know this? I mean, I know this because they've been around for 30 plus years. Metaverses are not the technology of the 2021 or 2022. It's not technology of the future. What is the technology of the future is crypto and blockchain. Crypto and blockchain is what's giving a new attention to this word metaverse, and what's giving this word metaverse life. Because originally a metaverse was online video games where thousands, millions of players got together to enjoy and to have communities. I'm going to say that again, to enjoy and to have communities. Those two features is what makes regular video gaming an industry that caters to almost 3 billion people. That's almost half the world's population that is engrossed in this industry because it has enjoyment and community. And that determines the strength of the project. And that's why you have things like World of Warcraft, which have been around for 10 plus years with 140 or 130 million players, or Minecraft or Roblox. But the interesting thing is, none of them are monetized. None of them. They don't have blockchain, and therefore they don't have the third element. And the third element is opportunity. Now we, as crypto people, as gaming people, can combine these worlds and now offer people essentially metaverses they already know about and have been in, but now with the third element of crypto opportunity, which is absolutely mind-blowing, huge. But there's a problem. There's a big problem. So the problem is that a metaverse is an ecosystem. And in that ecosystem, there are members of an ecosystem. There are people who make that metaverse possible. They are investors and partners. I mentioned them before. Gaming guilds. Like these are all these 10, roughly 10 that I have in front of you here, are the people who make this metaverse healthy, sustainable, and long-term growth potential. But the problem is a lot of games right now, not only is the game quality traditionally a little dinky, so to speak. Like it's not up to 21st century gaming standards that you'd see from a real studio in the real, outside of crypto. But aside from that is what they're focusing a little bit too much on opportunity and not enough on community and enjoyment. Like it's all about just making money, which is important. Don't get me wrong. That's our priority, right? That's what our goal is to give you guys the chance to make money. But the problem is it's not sustainable over a long period of time if you don't equally, and I say this word, equally focus on community and opportunity, because community and enjoyment. Because if without community and enjoyment, you only have one incentive, opportunity. And if you only have that as an incentive, it will be exploited. And if it's exploited, then the earning potential eventually goes down because there's nothing else keeping players from coming. There's nothing else drawing new players to the space. And that's why you see earning potential go down. That and one other reason I'll discuss shortly. One other major reason. So the parallel works in sequence. Another thing you'll find, like for example, the Sandbox, there's almost everybody who's played the Sandbox kind of knows that they've made some mistakes, whether it be with land sale or whether it be with having empty places and spaces or whether it be with not monetizing things correctly. They've made some mistakes, though they've done some amazing things and they are our inspiration. As a new project, your goal is to learn from the mistakes of your predecessors. The parallel tries to follow a very organized sequence because we understand one thing. If you're going to build a beautiful building, you first must have a strong foundation. You build it from the bottom up, not from the middle back down and then up again. Eventually, that will crumble. So the foundation starts with creation. But we also do something very unique here. We built a very custom system. This is completely custom. Nobody has it. We built the Hydra system. Now, Hydra system is a copyright protection system. We've literally created our own artificial intelligence structural scanning mechanism that will give NFT functionality two primary earning pathways. One is, of course, NFTs, which we call paragons. You will craft these things, you will uncraft these things, you will try to get the best stats or the best designs, whatever. You'll sell them, you'll trade them, you rent them. NFTs, right? And they'll be used to build our world as well, so they have enormous value. But aside from that, you have NFT blueprints, NFT designs, and this is what phase one is all about. It's about generating NFT designs, and NFT designs belong to the creator once they're copyrighted. Nobody can have two of the same NFT designs, and those NFT designs, you can set the price and collect royalties on it. Why? Because if you know anything about world economics, if you know anything about the development of the modern world, it's the people who build the world. It's not VCs, it's not game developers. It's the power of an individual that really makes the biggest impact on worlds. So we want to empower people. We want everybody to have an opportunity to become something in the parallel, just like in any other highly and fast developing country. That incentive must be present. Nobody else has it. It makes us unique. Next. So once we're done with that, we're going to do casual gaming mechanics. Again, the parallel is not primarily a game developer, right? I mean, we are, but there's so much more. We are a facilitator of community, and we are a facilitator of opportunity, and we are a facilitator of enjoyment. But gaming's part of it. So in the beginning, before we get mass game development in the parallel, we're going to create gaming mechanics, but they're all based around the previous phase. So the previous phase is all about designing. Now, after you've designed everything, you need materials, right? You need resources, you need ruins. That's what we call them. Our resources, our world is made up of ruins. And ruins come in different rarities and different types, and they're worth quite a bit of money. They're worth quite a bit of money because there's an enormous demand for these NFTs, huge demand for these NFTs, because essentially these little ruins that players will be gathering will literally build the parallel world, and nothing can be created without them. So there's going to be like a California gold rush, so to speak, for players to come in, enjoy play to earn mechanics, which we're going to make rewarding. And we're not afraid of the inflation element because there's going to be so many ways to spend tokens, so many ways to invest your tokens to earn more or to create NFTs or to craft valuable things. And these ruins will be gathered through the casual gaming mechanics in the early phases of next year. So like first 2 months of next year. And that's going to prepare us for land sale. And once land sale comes into play, that's when world building is going to be necessary. So we're going to have all these designs that are copyrighted. We're going to have all these ruins, raw materials ready to go, and there's going to be an increasing demand for them as the world keeps building and building and building. It creates a lot of well-structured and sequenced economic layers. If you notice, the one important thing, nothing is entering the parallel without it being incentivized and monetized. That's where we want to improve on what others have done. This goes over the opportunity. I'm going to skip this to save a little bit of time for you guys, and we can ask questions about it later if necessary. Game guild opportunity is going to be huge in the parallel. But I want players to understand an opportunity in the parallel. An opportunity for a game guild is supposed to be an opportunity for everyone else as well. So like we don't want game guilds to have enormous success and nobody else has success, or an investor has enormous success and nobody else has any success. That's economic exploitation. We want economic synergy, economic networking, just like social networking. People working and communicating together to build our economy. So, example, Gaming Guild does scholarships. We all know that. But after scholarships, you got sponsorships. So if you got a group of like these kids from South America who are amazing voxel designers and they're designing the coolest stuff in the parallel, the Gaming Guild, we as the parallel will incentivize the Gaming Guild to contact this group of spotlighted designers and to build an experience for the parallel together, incentivizing all parties involved, because we need that economic synergy for the health of the ecosystem. And then, of course, gaming guilds can build lands and cities of their own and hubs of their own, and we can connect them with all other experiences and people in the parallel and give that city a play to earn mechanic, a play to engage, a play to socialize. I'm sorry, a socialize to earn, an engage to earn mechanic, all kinds of mechanics to bring life to what they built. We're going to have every kind of game imaginable in the parallel eventually. That's our goal. MOBA, FPS, ARPG, everything. The key is we don't want the game to not be monetized well. We don't want to see what we've seen like in Decentralized, where you play a game for 8 hours for like nothing, just a couple tokens, and it's so tedious, it's so boring. Right? They're getting better, but that's what they had for a very long time. It's just games that ain't worth it. They're not worth it. So we can't have that. Everything has to be done on the right footing from the beginning. Entertainment experiences, concerts, K-pop, EDM, heavy metal, sporting events, all kinds of entertainment VR, AR, all kinds of stuff. Influencers, I'm going to move on from this. Investors. Okay, so this part here, I can explain this later if you have questions, but the parallel is going to be designed to have more TGE events. I'm going to say that again. It's going to be like the first game to be designed so that there's going to be more token generation events within our world. I can get back to that later because it's a complex idea, but it's part of our overall scheme. We want investors to be crazy to dump our token, because our token will have so much economic networking potential, so much further investment potential down the line, that every investor will beg to stay in the parallel if we do our job right. So we are going to have further investment opportunity. This is why investors dump, because they don't see there's too many greater options out there. It's not their fault. It's the developer's fault. We have to give them options for further investment. We have to. All right. So could you close that door, please? So what sets the parallel truly apart from its competitors? Everyone compares us to the Sandbox, and we can understand that. That's the closest thing in the space. They're the king of it at the moment, and they're doing a lot of developments. But first of all, there's enough room for 10 more sandboxes in GameFi. We haven't even scratched the surface of GameFi at all. And 3 billion gamers in the world, and GameFi has like, I don't know, just 1% or 2% of that right now, if even that. So there's definitely enough room. But what makes us different? There's a lot of things. Number one, we got copyright system. I won't even talk about this. You just got to look a little bit into the history of the modern age. You got to look into a history of modern technology, the Industrial Revolution, just how to cultivate the ingenuity of individuals. The copyright is a beautiful idea, and nobody has it. The next thing is land. And guys, if you have any questions in the middle of this, please feel free to stop me.
It's quite interesting listening to you. So yeah, if you have something, we will let you know.
So land sale is a huge problem in GameFi.
Can you mute yourself, Marcus, please?
Okay, cool. So land sale is a huge problem in GameFi. I don't know if a lot of people share this perspective yet, because it takes a while to realize how big of a problem it is. The problem is it is highly overvalued. It is extremely overvalued and being sold in the stupidest way possible. Let me tell you what I mean about this. And I say this passionately. And when I use words like this, I use it from my personal perspective. But I honestly, as a businessman, looking, and this is, from talking to other VCs and talking to our advisors, like, how can we do land better? Well, for starters, I mean, let's look at, our predecessors. Let's look at Decentralized. They sold 90,000 pieces of land right off the bat. And my only question is, for what? For what? What was the purpose of selling 90,000 pieces of land except for pure profit? I just, how, you're basically, if you do that, the people who are going to buy all that land are going to be rich people. They're going to be people with plenty of expendable income. And they're going to be people who are, for the most part, just speculative, meaning, they're just waiting for that land to appreciate because of the hype of the metaverse. And it's going to appreciate and it's going to be valuable. But is that valuable for the game? I mean, isn't a game's success dependent on its community's size, strength, and overall satisfaction with the environment? So, how is making rich people richer supposed to actually promote a game in the long term? So that's kind of why when you look at 90,000 pieces of land sold, yes, the developer made a ton of money. Yes, investors will make more money on resale over time. But what happens to the players? You know what they get? They get a giant shopping mall. That's what they get. They get a huge shopping mall with some casinos, some game experiences as a last priority, and a bunch of advertising. And that's a mistake. It's not supposed to be that way because everything that a person puts into a game has to have a purpose and has to have functionality. You don't just put random elements into a video game with no functionality. If you imagine if World of Warcraft created a dungeon that was very difficult to defeat, but when you kill the monsters, they drop nothing. When you finish the dungeon, there's no reward. Well, that's what these games are doing with these land sales. And it's absolutely crazy as far as I'm concerned. Now, depending on what their long term ambitions are. Now, let's take a lesson from the real world. When you go to buy land in a very well developed country or a very well developed neighborhood, the government wants to know, what are you building on that land? Like, are you going to build a store? What's it going to look like? Is it going to be ugly? Is it going to make our neighborhood look silly? Does it match the surrounding architecture? Right? Is it commercial? Is it residential? Oh, we don't need that. We already have a bagel store around the corner. Like, there's thought process that goes into it, but we have not seen that in GameFi yet. We've just seen this get rich quick land sale nonsense. So it's a very broken system that's been going on thus far. We're going to employ a much different model on this. We are going to sell land. This is just theory. It's not confirmed. But we are going to approach land differently. We're going to take land. We're going to sell it in segments. So if we have, like, I don't know, a couple thousand pieces of land, maybe we'll sell 30 every quarter. And we'll announce that to the public in advance. We're selling 30 every quarter. And we'll release a map of the land. And then before we reach land sale, we're going to go to the community and say, community, we got 30 pieces of land. We have a huge event, a huge contest for you guys to draw up an amazing experience design, a blueprint for what can be developed on that land. The best designers will get a huge prize pool or NFTs or something like that. Now our community goes nuts for this huge land development, design, architecture, event. And then all of our investors are starting to line up because they really want to buy this land. But we choose the investors, or we choose the people who have the most credit as contributors to the ecosystem, because these are the people who care for the long term. So they should get first dibs. Maybe we haven't set it in stone. And then when they buy the land, we're going to say to them, you only get to purchase this land if you fulfill certain requirements. You have to choose from our desired ecosystem needs, like maybe an amusement park or a concert hall or whatever. And you have to work with X amount of people from our community and give them an opportunity to be your builders and designers. Now you have economic synergy. The rich get richer, but so do the other people involved in the ecosystem. And that is the goal. And that is sustainable. We can monetize it. We have enough time and energy to make sure it's not empty and completely useless. And that's how a metaverse is supposed to be built for the long term. Now, we have a lot of kinks to work out, but I think it's a start in the right direction. The next thing that's really important is game developers and the difference between land and space. So we have land, but we also have space. And what's the difference? Our land is separate. Our space are like portals. Like, think of them as alternate universes. Portals, like in World of Warcraft, you take a portal somewhere. But it's not part of the overall open world. It's separate completely. And the reason we did this is because the most expensive, valuable, and priceless resource in the world going into 2022 is not money. Money is completely useless in GameFi. I'm going to say it again. Money is completely useless to a game developer in GameFi. Because we don't struggle getting money. They want to throw money at us. They want to throw money at every project because the 100x tokens are so valuable in the short term. So why not? Right? So since money's not the problem, what is the problem? The problem is resources. The problem is data engineers, data scientists, game developers, smart contract engineers. These are the priceless resources. These are the diamonds. And if you get good ones, you will be the leader of the world in the industry. So we want them. How do we get them? We're going to try to get them into the parallel to build gaming experiences. But our competitors are using a system that's not very welcoming in this regard. Now, what do I mean? Let's imagine that I'm a game developer. I got 20 game developers working for me in Silicon Valley, California. We've already developed 5 games on Steam. We got tens of millions of players who are fans of our game studio, knowing whatever we release is usually good. And I come to the parallel and I say, I come to the Sandbox and I say, hey, Sandbox, I heard you guys are it. You're the big guys in GameFi. We don't really know about GameFi too much, but we want to get in, and we want to get in with the best. So we want to get in with the Sandbox. So the game developer comes to the Sandbox, and what's the first thing the game developer has to do? Well, I'm sure they have to show their plan. Maybe not, actually. But what they have to do first is they have to buy a piece of land, right? And that land might not be in prime real estate. And it might cost them $500 to $2 million to $3 million if they want prime real estate. And then that land is limited in space. So what if my game is huge? What am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. All right, next. I say to the Sandbox, okay, we got the land. We paid the big money. Now what do we do? The Sandbox is going to say, you have to use our Sandbox game developer tool. So you're telling me to bring you all of my talent, expertise, connections, and community, I got to use your game developer tool? And I got to pay you like $2 million for a limited piece of land next to like somebody who's just investing for appreciation? It's almost as if they don't want the game developers to come. Like that's not how you do business. If that's your goal, to get talent to come to you and create unbelievable experiences in your world, that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. I did business in China, and when I'd go to China to do business, the factory or the partner that I might be working with, they would take me to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, pay for everything, drive me everywhere. I didn't even sign a contract yet, because that's how you bring partnerships together. So the parallel wants that. They're going to come to us. We're going to give them as much space and as much space as they possibly need to build whatever experience they want to build, as long as it's a good plan and there's some credibility there. So if they want to build an entertainment studio or a 3D studio or a MMORPG, we're going to give them the space. It's going to be free, completely free. We're going to dedicate the team to help them with data analysis and setting up their economy. We're going to let them create their own token. So they will have their own token. We're going to pump liquidity into that token. So we're basically going to be functioning like a launch pad, essentially having infinite amounts of investment opportunity within the parallel. And depending how big the project is, that depends how much the investment opportunity is going to be, how many resources are required. And this way, the parallel will be extremely welcoming to other experiences. But it's not only about land. They don't have to use our tools to build the game. They can use whatever they're comfortable with. And we will create the SDKs to support that. And all of this is confirmed. This is like the foundation of how we're going to grow faster than any platform out there, because of our willingness to work for talent and with talent. And then last thing is, there's a lot more, but this is probably the most important thing here. GameFi 2.0. I think we invented this word because it was the first time I ever heard it. And when I first heard it, I thought it was silly. Like I didn't get it right away. It took me about a week to process it. Enjoy to earn. So what is enjoy to earn? Enjoy to earn is a solution to the problem with GameFi that over time, as a population increases, earning potential decreases. Like everybody knows that's the problem. If the population goes up, the earning potential goes down. People who are there at the beginning have higher earning potential. People who are coming in new, they're kind of screwed. How do you fix it? Well, first, let's evaluate the problem. The problem is that we have to achieve a certain balance, and it's a simple balance in nature where population has to be balanced with resources, right? You can't have a population like this, resources like this, and then expect nothing bad to happen as the population increases. The balance must be sustained within reason. I mean, there's ups and downs, but nobody makes an effort to sustain it. How do you know? Just look at any game. Usually what you're going to see is if games that lasted a long time, you're going to see that when the game started, it had amazing earning potential. You're always going to see that. Then you're always going to see that the game's population and fame grew and their earning potential maybe went up for a while. But as their earning potential went up, did they add any more content? Did they add new ways to earn, new earning pathways, new use cases? Because if you have an enormous amount of population, don't you think you should have some more diversity? We see it all the time in other games, right? The more money they make, the more content they release. If they don't release content, the game starts to die, gets boring, gets stale. But now when you're talking about play to earn, imagine if the US dollar can only be earned a few ways, three or four different ways. And imagine if the US dollar can only be spent 6 or 7 or 8 ways. It would work perfectly fine if there were 50,000 people in this world. But the moment you got billions of people in this world, you think would 3 earning pathways cut it? And 7 or 8 spending pathways? Absolutely not. So there has to be a proportion. So what's the solution? The solution is this. Enjoy to earn basically means that a GameFi platform's ultimate goal is to constantly evolve and constantly create new ways for players to earn, but not repetitive ways. Meaning, if you like to dance and you want to earn money in GameFi, there should be a way to do it. If you like to socialize, there should be a way to do it and to earn money. If you like to play first-person shooters or MOBAs or MMOs or ARPGs or just like gathering loot or min-maxing your stats or creating or designing or investing or developing, whatever it is, there has to be a way to earn within balance that works in synergy with the other elements, where everything is kind of cross-compatible. And the only way this can be done is steadily, slowly, one at a time. You grow with your population as a daily mission to innovate and to grow and to increase the diversity and the dynamics of your experiences. Because if people have the option to do what they enjoy to earn money, the community will grow, the enjoyment is going to grow, and the opportunity will sustain. But if you only have 1 or 2 choices, the chances are there's not going to be a community and there's not going to be enjoyment because it's just going to be the opportunists trying to maximize their profits on a daily basis. It's going to work like a funnel or a tunnel where the tunnel's perfect until the population grows beyond its capacity. So enjoy to earn, we feel is going to solve that. And the biggest challenge we're going to have is to make that happen. And that's that's pretty much it. I mean, there's so much more to talk about. There's so much theory crafting to talk about, and this is pretty much what we do with all of our free time is theory crafting. But we think we have a very good start, and we've learned quite a bit from the people who came before us. Yeah.
Metaverse that you are describing, where you basically provide a place for everyone. You say, okay, so if there's a talented people, they want to develop something within the parallel, you'll provide them space for free, how I understood it. But let's not focus on the free or pay part, but more on the parallel system. And let's just compare it to a few competitors. So you mentioned, for example, the Sandbox, perhaps not as a competitor, but as a similar project. I would like to bring in another one, Blocktopia. How would you compare yourself with them?
To be honest with you, I haven't looked much at Blocktopia, mostly because of time constraints. We've been so busy working 7 days a week, but I've heard that name mentioned a few times. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, so I wouldn't have a very good answer for that.
Okay, that's all right. George, do you have a question before we move on to the community questions, or shall we just give it to the community?
I don't think I have any important questions. All my questions are just nonsense because you explained everything so good. It was a one-of-a-kind explanation. So I think we can go with the community questions. But before, for everyone listening, we are having a Glim giveaway. So there will be a code shared here. It will be shared now. So go ahead and join the Glim giveaway. And now we can go with the questions. So here we are. Can we know about parallel games levels and its difficulty, and what are the requirements I should have to play the game?
Yeah. So again, the Parallel is going to be a welcoming platform for other people to create huge and beautiful and monetized games. Our goal is diversity. Our goal is dynamic. So if you're a hardcore gamer, we want to have that for you. If you're a casual gamer and you just want to really play to earn and talk to your friends and dance around and show off your new skins, we have that for you. The question is when, right? More not about will we have what you want. That's a guarantee. We will have what you want. I don't even know you. But my goal is to have what you want without even knowing you. And if I don't know now, I'm going to figure it out later because the community is going to be very important to us. I'm going to be listening to everything you say. All of us will be. But in the beginning, it's going to be very easy. It's going to be rewarding. We want players to go in and be like excited about making social connections, making communities, inviting their friends. It's going to be easy and it's going to be rewarding. You're going to be gathering valuable NFTs. You're going to be gathering tokens from play to earn and daily quests and weekly quests and seasonal quests. And this is going to happen rather quickly. We're talking about in the next 2 months or so where those elements will be released. Sorry, footage. So yeah, it's going to be easy in the beginning. System requirements are important to us. We're trying to make like the coolest looking voxels as far as graphically as possible, but at the same time, we want to make sure that system requirements are really low. So it's going to be browser based in beginning. And that will we'll have different options going in the future, but it's not our main priority right now. Our main priority right now is graphically pleasing, fun, enjoyable, rewarding, and we want a guy to play the Parallel while he's sitting on the toilet at work. Like we want it to be easy, and make sure that your time's not wasted.
I had a question. When you talk about infinite space, it remembers to me to Minecraft. Is it something similar to it, like this expansion, but will there be a limited resources even though it's infinite?
That's the question, right? So what do you do if like because you have the parallel open world and that's our primary space, but then you have these portals and these portals will, like picture the moon around in our solar system as a gaming experience. Well, we could eventually have 100 moons or 200 moons and players are going to take a portal from the open world to get to those experiences. So the question is, yeah, resources, right? Like what do you do if Blizzard Entertainment with, its huge player base or Valve or Riot comes to you and says, "Hey, we want to make a game and we have 120 million players." Well, if they came to us today and said that, the first thing we would say is, "No, like we can't do that. We're not ready." But if they did come to us 4 or 5 years from now, that would be an enormous meeting to first of all realize, can we accomplish this goal? What resources will be required? How many servers? What we'd have to bring on a whole new staff. But you know what? It's doable. I mean, you could have infinite resources. It's just about how many people get involved. And if people need to get involved, you need to have a token. You need to have investors. You have to have investors. And you have to have investors that are better than what you traditionally see today. Not investors who just, give you money, but they're investors who actually have connections in Silicon Valley, who have connections in Japan with gaming, or in Southeast Asia in gaming, in India with gaming. Like people who really have the resources more than financially to actually make a project like that happen. So that's why the Parallel is so exciting to me personally, because that's the plan. The plan is infinite expansion, so that I personally don't have to jump from project to project after this one. That's definitely what we don't want. So yeah, we've thought about it. We already know that it's going to be something we're going to have to address when the big boy comes.
Okay.
All right, very interesting. Thank you. Next question. Does this run on a centralized server or a decentralized server like Decentralized?
Decentralized. Decentralization is like one of our staples. So like we're going to be having a DAO, and we don't like the idea of just decentralized governance in general. You know what I mean? Like we want our CEO Lewis is very, very pro transparency and very pro like power to the people kind of thing. So he wants to give the communities a lot of freedom in the ways that they can explore their horizons in the Parallel.
Okay, that's what we can expect now for every game in the blockchain. That everything is decentralized, since it's one of the benefits of the blockchain. So that it was something to be expected. Will it require some investment to play the game?
Yes, there will be some investment to play the game. It's basically, think of it this way. Back when in the United States, when they found gold in California, what did a miner have to do? He had to travel all the way to California. He had to buy some basic tools, a mining pick, some water bottles, and get out there and start looking for gold. Well, it's the same thing here. It's not going to be crazy like we've seen before. Like, we don't like this whole $600, $700, $800. That's a lot. We don't know what the exact price is going to be, but it's going to be reasonable. Our advisors and our founding team is really trying to make it accessible for people. But at the same time, it's got to have some kind of investment to really stimulate the initial growth. But we're going to try our best to make sure that investment is returnable rather quickly.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's just wait for another question. Otherwise, we'll just go for ourselves. I've seen a few. All right. Interesting question. Esports. What are your ideas about that?
I was looking at that question. It's so funny you picked that one. I was looking at Sebastian's questions too. Yeah, esports. Listen, I'm a big esports guy. I'm a League of Legends player. To be honest with you, if I ever have time, I play League of Legends when I have time, and that's almost never. So esports is a big thing for me. I think it's the future of sporting, but not only that, but like esports of taking traditional sports and putting them into the esports realm is going to be a big thing too. So yeah, I mean, listen, we're gonna have MOBAs in the parallel. I cannot wait till somebody wants to make like a League of Legends ripoff in the parallel. It's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna have huge events based around that, and we're gonna connect them with like the concerts and the EDM things to like to promote events, to set up all kinds of complex economic things around sport, maybe sports betting. All kinds of crazy things can happen as a result of esports. We're gonna have esports stadiums. We're actually already going to be meeting next week with a major player in the space that literally all they do is design e-stadiums. Literally, for like every real life sport, they design e-stadiums. So we're going to work with them to see what we can come up with and brainstorm about. But even if, let's say, for example, like just to show you how flexible the parallel is. The parallel, if it has 5 or 10 million players, we're going to be desirable by everybody. I mean, that's the way it works in gaming. If you got a bunch of millions of players and you're smart and you can work with other people, you can create economic opportunity. So let's just say, for example, if League of Legends comes to the parallel and they say, look, guys, we're not building a game in voxel. League of Legends is great. We're not going to do this. We're a massive company. We'll say, all right, no problemo. Right? We're going to say, let's do this. Let's advertise League of Legends in the parallel in one of our gaming guilds, for example, with the biggest gaming guild city in the parallel. They love League of Legends, and a lot of their players are esports guys. Let's advertise League of Legends in their city. We'll connect you, and then we'll create a portal in their city that when players click that portal, their browser will take them to the League of Legends esports event. And every time they click that, League of Legends will get some kind of royalty. The Game Guild will get some kind of royalty. The players will get some kind of incentive or discount on some kind of League of Legends apparel. Think of websites and click banners, right? How do they work? You click on the banner, people make some money, right? And then the company gets more traffic to their website. That same concept can be used to connect games without actually building the game in the game, at least to get the crypto thing going for other experience. So there's so many ways to synergize economies, so many unique methods that we can employ through this.
That's pretty cool. So going ahead, will the developer provide other benefits for users who have supported the parallel from the start?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Will the developer provide benefits to users who supported the parallel from the start? Incentive is our primary game. Like, that's literally, I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be, but I can tell you the way that the founding team works here, the way that I work here. We are constantly paying attention to who helps us. For example, like our fundraising rounds, some games raise like 100 million, 200 million in the fundraising round. And we look at that and we're like, why would you do that? I mean, to raise 100 million or 200 million, you have to give away all of your tokens. If you give away all of your tokens, you're basically just telling everybody to dump them as soon as your token goes high. I mean, why would you take a risk like that? So the parallel is different. We had a very difficult challenge. We had to go to some unbelievable VCs, and we had to literally tell them, they come to us and they're like, all right, we want to invest 500K, we want to invest $1 million, whatever it is. And we had to come back to them and offer them like a fifth of that or less sometimes. And some of them, got offended. Some of them just felt there were better projects out there. And some of them actually signed on with us that were very good VCs. But as time, we do this not because we want to disrespect them, but we do this because we want the token to be strong and valuable, but also because we want to see how much they believe in the project over time. And we've already begun incentivizing some of the VCs who really work hard to promote and help the parallel on an advisory level, on a marketing level, on a technical level, to come back to them and say, hey guys, here's a little extra for you, because we really appreciate what you're doing. Like, wow, we want to incentivize you. This, I swear to God, this is something that the founding team is doing now and that I'm partaking in. And we're going to employ that same philosophy with our communities. So our goal really is to constantly keep incentives fresh, because if people don't see opportunity from their effort, then that fire dies. And if that fire dies, the game's fire dies. So you'd be crazy not to do that.
Okay, that's pretty
that
cool.
is very interesting. I think that is how do I say that? Yeah, hold on with that question. So I think what we really need these days is promotional quality, of the project, and it seems that you're really focused on that, rather than just bringing the VCs in, I mean, obviously VCs these days, they grow like mushrooms out of the ground, people participate in a launchpad, they make a lot of money and then they build their own VC. You see it everywhere these days, and they can bring the money, but they don't bring quality to the games, and that's the problem with a lot of these VCs today, they have the money, but they've got nothing to offer, because if you look at games, I can say from experience these days what games are looking for when they are bringing in VCs. You want quality from them. You want a VC on board. That believes, like you said, that believes what you are building. And that basically promotes what you are building. Because if they do, they're not only helping you but also themselves. And this is very important these days when it comes to VCs. So let's just move on to the question that was in the screen.
Minecraft.
Yeah, it was always something related to Minecraft.
Yeah, how are we different from Minecraft?
Yeah.
Okay.
So listen, Minecraft is great, right? Like this is the most amazing part about it. Minecraft is great. Minecraft has 150, 160 million users. It's got it for like 10 years already. Doesn't show any sign of slowing down. It's had some unbelievable creations that happened in it that blew our mind as to what can be done with voxel. But the thing is, Minecraft offers what? It offers community and it offers enjoyment, but it doesn't offer opportunity, does it? I mean, it does, but not to most people. I mean, look at how powerful community and enjoyment is to people. Think about the psychology. Forget gaming. To be a great GameFi project, you got to know business, you got to know history, you got to know economics, you got to know psychology and gaming, because you got to know what people want and what makes them happy and keeps them happy, and that's what you have to give them. So Minecraft is an amazing, amazing game. And I don't think we need to be much different than Minecraft. We need to be better graphics, offer more, yes. But we have to find a way to do what Minecraft did, but also create enormous, enormous economic opportunity for everybody who makes Minecraft special or keeps Minecraft special. But we want to just take it to the next level. So, it's hard to answer that question because of how dynamic Minecraft is. But our challenge is far greater than Minecraft's challenge, because we have to do what Minecraft did, plus throw balanced economic opportunity on top of that. So that's going to be the main difference. That's going to be the main challenge. That's going to be revolutionary if we can pull it off. And I'm telling you, nobody is pulling it off yet. Nobody. Sandbox is first, yes, but they haven't pulled it off yet. They're trying, and they're trying very hard, and they're working. They're doing beautiful work, but none of us have succeeded yet.
That's the main point of everything, to go and get done what hasn't been done. So I think that's a good way to explain and to achieve your goals and to achieve it as parallel, since it's where you're working now. We appreciate that. And I think that, I don't know if there's more questions. Maybe we can do one more questions, or if not, we can just finish. Okay, we have the question. Simon is what's the what's the reason for unlocking 10% and 25% at DGE for private and public sale, given it that it attracts flippers and breaks momentum from launch?
Well, it all depends on how much you've given away. Every single comment that I've heard from every single VC investor and advisor is usually like, with the ambitions of your project and with the staff of over 50, how are you raising so little? Like, They're shocked by how little we've given away. And the fact is, they're right. On one side, look, we have a problem in GameFi. The problem is that GameFi developers are literally. Look, you said it earlier, George. I think George, no, or Marcus said. I think it was Marcus. Marcus, you said that VCs have to start showing their value. I say I agree with you, especially into 2022, where value is going to be much more needed. But I also don't blame the VCs. They are doing what they do best. They make money. That's what they love to do. And who's giving them the opportunity? Who's enabling them to take on big projects with big allocations and then dump? It's the game developers that are enabling this behavior. We're enabling this behavior. Not Parallel specifically, we're trying to stop it. But traditionally, game developers have literally, GameFi developers just give them whatever allocations they want and don't even care if they dump. Now, in our case, because the environment is so hot right now, if you're a VC, it really makes more sense. If your main priority is just to make big money fast, and that's what you'd expect in a bull or a bear market, then it doesn't make sense to go into small allocations for long hauls. Unless, of course, we become the next Minecraft in GameFi, right? So those are the people who believe in that are the ones we want. But if you're a VC who makes a ton of money, your main goal should be get huge allocations, dump at the right time, move on to the next one. There's 50 more waking. All the VCs I met have 20 meetings a day. Think about that. 20 meetings a day. That's how many projects VCs are juggling right now. Why in the hell would you not want to be in a dumping situation if you're a VC? So the Parallel has to do two things. One, we have to make our token offering attractive enough for people to take the risk. And two, we have to balance that with small token allocations. Because if they dump 10% of 100,000, we can mitigate it. It's not a big deal, But if they dump, 10%, if 10 VCs dump 10% of 1 million tokens, I'm sorry, 1 million allocation, then it's a problem. That's a huge problem. That's a lot of dump to mitigate. You can't do that. But that's why our allocations are small. We're not worried. Because we've set the vesting periods, we've set the locking periods as such where even if 50% start dumping, which was not gonna, they have to be crazy to dump. First of all, any VC that sees a project like ours and sees land sale 6 months away and dumps before land sale comes would be absolutely out of their minds. Like if you're an investor, why would you dump before the next like Sandbox land sale or the next Decentralized land sale? Everybody knows that's where the opportunity is gonna hit hard. So we've designed it to prevent dumping. And if it happens, we can mitigate it. We didn't give a lot away.
I think that answered the question pretty well. Nailed it on the head. So what are we at now? About 1 hour in. We can do one more question if there's a really, really good question. How do you see it? Well, I think you already spoke about that a little bit. In 5 years, you want to bring Blizzard on board. But
well, not quite. In 5 years, or less, we want to be a launch pad and have our own blockchain and maybe multiple instances of the Parallel. Like 5 years is a long time, and a lot of expansion can happen within that time. Blizzard is not a requirement. One of my favorite games ever. I played World of Warcraft. I was like a head guy in World of Warcraft in my server. But I'll tell you, one of my favorite games ever is Hades. That game came out not too long ago. That game is absolutely brilliant. In fact, I'm trying to think, how can we make a Hades? It's such a great game. I've never seen replay value like that in any game before. And that's an indie studio, one of the top rated on Steam. So not necessarily need World of Warcraft. Just need brilliance.
Okay.
all right, cool.
Thank you.
All right.
I think we can wrap it up here. It's been a pretty long AMA, but quite interesting. Thank you for joining us today, Daniel. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Everyone, remember the IGO is happening today in 2 hours, I think. So please go ahead and buy your allocation if you have any allocation. And that's it for my part. Don't remember to hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you, Marcus, for joining me today. And I think that's it. If anything has been, or do you need to say anything, Daniel, Marcus, it's your time. If not, we can just finish here.
I'll give the stage to Daniel in case he wants to add something.
Yeah, guys, listen, anything I learned from business in my life, from when I was a young buck, 20 years old, my mentor, he always told me, is that all the answers can be seen in the money. All the answers can be seen by looking how people collect and spend their money. And, identify what the problem is in any project that you get into. And if they're taking on huge amounts of money with no real good cause or reason for it, then you can pretty much assess what the long-term plan and vision is. So learn to determine which projects are good and which ones are not, and which ones really mean for long-term evolution and advancement. And just know that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. And you're probably interested in the greatest industry we've seen in ever since the invention of maybe the iPhone, right? So, thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. And I really look forward to seeing how this goes and maybe talking to you guys again in the future. And appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being here with us tonight, Daniel. George, also thank you. And for all the community people that are watching, thank you. Don't forget the IDO if you have allocation tonight. It's going to be in a short while. Once again, everyone, like and subscribe, and see you guys again in a later time.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks. Bye.